Hi, welcome to the Grizzled Geek, our special report where we review Season 2 of Stranger Things. If me and Doug look like we've got no sleep, it's because the last 9 hours we've been binging.
We were binging, yeah.
Stranger Things. And so a lot of these thoughts are pretty fresh.
Yeah.
Just opened up today, yesterday.
Yeah, midnight on Friday.
Last night.
And, I had to work, so I ended up staying up till 4 in the morning to make sure I got it all in.
Wow.
I actually was done before that, but then Beyond Stranger Things started immediately, and I ended up watching a half of an episode of that before I was like, I got to go to bed.
I could not commit to Beyond Stranger Things.
It's pretty cool, so I would suggest checking it out.
There's no Chris Hardwick, so I'm like,
well, it's true.
Without Chris Hardwick, there's no talking. There's no after show for me.
That's funny.
Chris needs to clone himself, so we have an after show for everything.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna do this in two parts. First one is gonna be spoiler free, and then we'll throw up the spoiler sign, and then at that point we'll be talking spoilers, assuming we don't accidentally spoil them.
I think
we'll edit it out.
It should be easy, and the spoiler free won't be that long because we want to get into talking about the meat. Yeah, so
it's good.
It's good.
It's
watch it.
Watch it. Now let's talk about it. No, I was kidding. Okay. I really enjoyed the season 2.
I did. Yeah, I liked it a lot. I think we both came to the, we didn't watch it together, formed our opinions separately, and we both came back going, meh, it was good. Well, I shouldn't say meh. It was good.
Yeah.
There's no meh into it, but it's not as good as the first season.
It's not. No, I had a few problems with it, but other than that, it was a really good follow-up for the first season. The first season was kind of like, it was new, it was magical, right?
That's the thing.
We hadn't seen anything like this before, for a while anyway, right? Hit all the nostalgia buttons, right? Mm-hmm. This one kind of toned down a little bit on the nostalgia and ramped up the drama a little bit.
Yeah.
But,
well, it's just, you captured lightning in a bottle once.
Yeah.
The feeling is going to be different, even though, in my opinion, all of the kids did just as well, or in some cases better. Like Noah, I forget his last name, Will.
Yeah.
That kid can act. You don't really get that in season 1 because he's gone most of it.
Yeah, he's
just
not there.
cowering and stuff like that. That kid's good.
Yeah.
I loved him in this. He was one of the standout to me of the original cast. Right. He was the standout in this.
Well, I think the first one, Finn Wolfhard.
Yeah, Finn's
Mike. He was a standout in the first one for me.
Right.
And he's still good in this one. Especially for me coming off watching him in It.
Oh, okay.
Playing a completely different type of character.
Uh-huh.
Right. He's not quiet introvert.
Right.
Nerd guy. He's the open kind of loudmouth jokester.
Okay.
In It. And just watching the kid's range between the two. Right.
Okay. Yeah.
Kid's definitely Wolfhard, not Wolf Soft. That kid got it going. All right. But the cast was great. Everybody back from the first one, right? That's
Liv. Alive.
Yeah, that's Liv. You talk about they're saying Barb gets her due. Barb is a major part of this season 2, right? Her story or whatever. So they kind of addressed the fact they just kind of dropped her in the first series by making her that the major part of the second series. As far as the new people that came in, I really liked the doctor.
Paul Reiser.
Paul Reiser, yeah.
He's great.
I forget the doctor's name. Sam Owens. I remember that, Dr. Sam Owens.
He is a great I don't want to say replacement for, but he's a great new
representative from Hawkins.
Yeah, representative from the laboratory. So,
right. So it's. Yeah, he was a great character. Sean Astin, it was great to see Sean Astin. I love Sean Astin in anything. It's like Rudy. He's, every time I see him, he brings it back because he's been in all the 80s stuff. So all the 80s stuff I love.
Right, yeah.
So he was cool. The new girl, Max.
See, I liked her. I know
she was kind of meh for me. I think, for me, I don't get into what I didn't like. But it was, the actress was fine, I liked her, and then I guess the other new one was her brother.
Yeah,
the new jerk.
Yeah,
got to have his 80s. 80s got to have a jerk, high school jerk.
Right. Yeah. He's basically, from what I was seeing on the Beyond when they were talking to the directors and stuff, he is what Steve was originally intended to be, but that they couldn't do because now I'm not gonna see if I can find him. The guy who plays Steve, Carey. I don't remember. Anyway, the guy who plays Steve, the actor who plays Steve, he is just so Joe Carey. He's such a like affable, nice guy, and he came off on screen too. They're like, all right, we can't just leave this guy the bad guy. We got to take him someplace else. Well, now they kind of got the
that was one of my favorite things about the first season, the kind of like the love triangle. What didn't end up your typical, she ends up with the loner guy. She actually ends up with the bad boy. Which was great. So I mean, I really like what they did in that first season. So I mean, it's we like the new cast. We like the returning, seeing all the kids coming back. I mean, that was the main thing.
Right.
That's why you like this show, is because of the kids, right? Yeah. And seeing them all, they all get their due in the second season, and that was really good. I recommend it. So we want to give our final score at the end, but right now we're going to jump into spoilers after the break. So after the cut, so we'll be back. All right, we're back. Time for spoiler talk. The moment we've all been waiting to jump in this. So if you haven't seen Stranger Things 2, go watch it. It is well worth it. If you like Stranger Things 1, go watch Stranger Things 2.
Why have you not binged this yet?
Exactly. It's been out for not quite 48 hours yet. Why haven't you seen it all? It's only 9 hours. All right, so
yeah, I guess that's one thing we didn't mention. There is an extra episode.
Yeah.
This season it's 9 instead of 8.
Right. So 9 episodes. Well, of course, they also had, in my opinion, a filler episode that didn't really need to be there.
Well,
but anyway, we'll get into the whole thing.
Yeah.
All right. So, wow. What do you think? Hey, let's talk about the new bad, right? Obviously, the first one.
The Shadow Monster, the Mind Flayer.
The Mind Flayer, yes.
Which was cool. This is why I recommend watching Beyond Stranger Things, because they talk about the process for putting the movie together and what was always there and what was not. For example, we learned that the Upside Down isn't the official name for the Upside Down. It's called the Nether.
The Nether.
But the kids call it the Upside Down because that was the illustration they got from 11. Same thing here is, for the longest time in the script, they just called it the Shadow Monster until I don't remember which Dulfer brother it was. Not Ross, the other one.
The other Dulfer.
Yeah.
Duffer.
Anyways, Duffer, not Dulfer. He was looking back through old D&D books and came across the Mind Flayer and said, "Oh, I forgot about that. This is perfect.
Yeah.
This is the exact bad guy I want." So, yeah. So we'll call it the Mind Flayer.
The Mind Flayer.
What they call it at the end.
That's what the kids call it. So
yeah.
And I like the idea of all the bad guys in the series being D&D monsters.
Yes,
so
that is pretty cool.
We're sticking with Mind Flayer for this one.
Right. And then you got the demo dogs.
I'm not calling them demo dogs. I like Dustin, but I'm not calling them demo dogs. All right, so they had like a bunch of mini Demigorgons, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they were not. I mean, they
weren't as big as
they weren't as big and ran around on 4 legs like dogs, or cats or something like that.
Yeah,
and there were a lot of them. That was one of my problems, is how many of them there were.
Right.
At that point, they lost their impact to me. But let's go ahead and.
Yeah, I mean, the whole first one was just like one of those scary things. Then I don't know. It's kind of like the mini Godzillas in the Godzilla movie.
Yeah.
Remember, it kind of wrote something when there was a whole bunch of little raptor things going around.
Right. But so in season 1, the Demogorgon was supposed to be like a Jaws type.
Yeah.
Type bad guy, where he was just an animal that was scary and prey, a predator. No real intelligence to it. I mean, It was cunning, but it wasn't intelligent. They change it up in this season, and they bring in an intelligent bad guy, a Lovecraftian type bad guy, where it's like this extra dimensional creature, super intelligent, but beyond humans' ability to understand what it's doing and why.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. I like that element.
Right. I like the idea that I like the concept when they first show up at Hawkins again. It shows that they got under new management, right? Paul Reiser's character is pretty much handling things. They're taking care of Will. He's for his checkups.
Yeah. Although they're treating it like a psychological disorder. It's interesting.
Yeah. They're not sure.
Well, they don't know anything.
PTSD or whatever from being. They don't know. But then they go in and see they have to burn back the spreading
Yeah, because the opening is still there.
The opening is still there. Yeah, the opening is still. There's a rift between dimensions, and it's starting to grow. So they got to take it in with a flamethrower and burn it back.
Right.
To keep it trimmed down. But what they don't know, which you find out in the series, again spoilers, is that
it's growing down.
It's
not
growing
just
down,
out.
not just out. It's actually tunneling under the town, and it's like spreading out. So there's like this underground labyrinth going through the town.
Well, and the opening is now huge. You see in that one room this little. It's like the tippy top of it.
Yeah.
And then when you go down below it, it's
like
this
this
giant, like mini stories tall opening.
Yeah. The whole concept is kind of freaky when you think about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's spreading out, and as it's spread out, crops and trees and plant life above those tunnels are dying out.
Right. Yeah.
It's dying of rot. So, and the creature has some kind of psychic connection to Will Byers.
Right.
Because Will Byers can actually see into, as you got a little glimpse of at the end of season 1, he can see into the Underdark, or the upside down.
They even they give him the D&D turn. He has true sight.
He's got true sight. Yeah,
he can see both worlds.
Yep. So, but yeah, I mean, so yeah, that is the threat. So now they got this, and Will Byers is now linked to them. So every time they try and hurt the big bad, it hurts Will Byers.
Well, that comes because he actually. Sean Astin, we have to briefly address this to kind of give you the chain of events that get there. But basically, Sean Astin's the new boyfriend of Mrs. Byers.
Bob Newby is his name.
Yeah, and Joyce. So he and Joyce Byers are together when we come
Ryder's
back.
character.
They, almost a year later, after the events, so they're dating. At one point, he's giving Will a ride to school, and Will is also being picked on at school, and he gives him some advice meant to talk about bullies at school, where he says, if people are bullying you and stuff like that, I used to run away. He's also using an analogy of a nightmare.
Yeah,
that he would run away. Face your nightmare. Yeah, you got to face your fears and stuff like that. So Will does that and ends up being possessed by the mind flayer at that point. Not exactly possessed. He gets inhabited by a portion of it. So then he has a connection to it, which they think that's great. Yeah, we can use that to know what the mind flayer is up to, but it works both ways.
Right.
And he's not as strong psychically as it is, so it ends up controlling him in several points.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about the big bad. Did you like the shadow monster, the blind mind flayer?
I did, and I like what they did with it. I liked the feeling like it was like this almost insurmountable type of bad guy.
Yeah.
Well, and you get the sense almost like it is the portion of the upside down that's burrowing into under the town.
Yeah.
I mean, or at least, well, it's like all of the vines that are growing through the tunnels and stuff like that. Maybe not the tunnels themselves, but all of the manifestations of, anything living in the tunnels is it.
Right.
Which is cool. I do like the way they connected him and Will together. It with Will, that was a really cool aspect and gave the actor a lot to work with. So, he was really good in that.
Right.
In that role.
I like the fact that it is a mind flayer. It actually controls all the other demogorgons and controls everything. It basically has a network. It's hive mind. So, but yeah, I mean, I liked it. I liked that it was a mind flayer. I liked that it wasn't some big Cthulhu monster that was physical.
Oh,
it was
right.
more like it was shadow. When I first saw the preliminary, I was like, what are they doing with this giant monster?
Yeah.
Although I guess it could come with that giant gate, but yeah. But anyway, liked it. Okay, let's talk about some of the returning cast here.
Well, hang on. Before we do that, you mentioned something about how the shadow monster has control of the mini demogorgons.
Yes.
The demodogs.
Yeah.
I love this. And this is funny because in the show, he keeps trying to get that demo dogs to stick, and no one else will go with it.
Yeah,
and they get upset with it. Is this what was really important right now? It is really well done.
Yeah.
Interaction between some of the characters, but it's like it can control them, but it's not inhabiting them at all times.
No,
and you get and that's important because
they have free will. until it basically
Calls
takes
them.
control and calls
Yeah.
them. So that's important.
So if
because
they're
it's a
not-
plot point later on,
if they're not getting direct orders from him, they revert back to instinctual behavior.
right?
So that's important.
Yeah, it comes in play. Well, we're spoiler talk anyway.
Yeah.
That when they're little slugs before they realize that they're little demigorgons.
Yeah.
Dustin actually finds one and takes it as a pet.
Right.
So he's got this pet. Although I wouldn't.
Yeah.
That's this creepy little slug thing.
First off, it looks like some sort of amphibious creature.
Yeah.
And he thinks, oh wow, I found this cool little amphibian. And, he's a 12-year-old boy or whatever. This is cool. As soon as it pops out legs in front of you, that's when I freak out and go, oh, get rid of this thing.
Get rid of this thing. Yeah.
But he feeds it Three Musketeers.
Right.
And he bonds over.
He bonds
that.
with the thing.
So later on, it's standing in their path of escape, and they get by him giving it Three Musketeers. So it's a really cool little how it comes around because they're super pissed at him for actually interacting.
He lies to everybody else about keeping the Demigorgon.
Yes.
Once they find out that it's from
somehow related to the Upside Down.
then they're like,
we got to get rid of it. We got to kill it. And he's like, no, don't kill it.
yeah.
And he hides it from him and stuff. So
And even when he finds out it's a Demigorgon, he doesn't kill it. He traps it in the.
he
the cellar.
does go get Steve to with the bat with nails in it.
True,
So
he's
he's gonna have him killed.
Yeah, he's like, I'm sorry, but you ate my cat.
Yeah.
So
Speaking of, they had what is the cat's name? Mewer or
Muse.
Muse, something like that. One of the Duffer brothers are like, justice for Muse.
Justice for Muse. Yeah.
So
Poor Muse.
hashtag justice for Muse.
That's right.
So anyways, all right, returning cats.
Returning cast. Let's talk about. Well, we'll do the kids last. Let's talk about Hopper. David Harbour's character. Easily my favorite from the first
Yeah.
series outside of the kids.
Yeah, and
He was great.
and just as good, and he gets to do more in this one.
Yeah, I think. Well, yes and no. I like the fact. It's one of my favorite scenes in the very first episode is when he just he punches his way into the government facility.
Yeah.
He's like he tries to sneak in. Hell with this. Just starts punching people. That's how he gets in there. We don't get a moment like that, which I kind of miss. I was hoping for that, but he's a little more clear-headed. He's more responsible now. When we made him in the first one, he's kind of drunk. He's most of the time.
Oh yeah, he's still reeling from losing his daughter. And he's just turned into a drunk.
In this one, as you kind of first one kind of alludes to at the end, he's actually hiding 11.
Right.
He's got someone to care about and take care of.
Right.
So he's a little more responsible. He's not as reckless.
Yeah, he's
as he was
kind
in
of
the
a
first
father
one.
figure.
Yeah. So there's a little less of that, which I kind of miss, but I understand. I mean, he grew as a character, so I like that much. Yeah. He's actually not. He's a little more on edge. So when something strange happens in the town, he's a little more. All right, really? I'm on it. Let me go investigate. As before, he'd be like, whatever. Something strange is going on.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, having lived through everything, he's kind of grown to okay, so he's kind of like more of the town protector.
Yeah.
So the whole town is basically, the government came in and they're sworn to secrecy.
Yes.
No one could talk about anything that happened.
Yeah. And you see it at the end of the first one, he makes a deal with the government.
Yeah.
To, he makes sure that everybody keeps their secret and they make sure that nothing weird happens to the town.
Yes.
So he'll go with the buyers whenever they take Will in to be evaluated and stuff like that. So
yeah,
he's connected to them as well.
Yeah, and speaking of the buyers, Joyce, Winona Ryder's character, now she's a little less crazy this time around, right?
Yes, correct.
But she's still a very concerned mother, as you would be when your kid just get lost in another dimension.
Yeah.
So
and this is where Bob comes in. Sean Astin's character kind of grounds her. Mm-hmm. She's still uber protective of Will.
Yeah.
Having lost him for that however long the first season takes. I don't remember what the length of time it was supposed to be. But yeah, so even almost a year later, she's kind of really,
she's got to drop off of school. He can't ride with his friends on the bike.
Yeah, he never rides a bike during the episodes.
Yeah.
No,
he gets dropped off everywhere.
Yeah.
Yep. Or his brother has to be with him. His brother has to take him trick-or-treating, or she wants him to.
That was one plot point they dropped that never got addressed that I was kind of disappointed about.
What's that?
At no point they obviously find out that it was Will holding the camera, that the brother was not there at all, but they never confront him about that.
That's true.
Never get upset with him, never confront him about it. So that was just kind of dropped.
They're a little more concerned about him getting bullied. But yeah, true. You're like, where's, I sent you with your little brother. Where?
Yeah. So.
All right. Yeah. So let's talk about his brother. His brother and
Jonathan
and Nancy. Is that their names?
Yeah.
All right. So that couple, well, they weren't a couple in the first movie. It's one of the problems I had. But they're teamed up pretty much throughout this entire second series, right?
Yeah.
And their big thing is Nancy is grieving over, well, she feels guilty lying to Barb's parents about what happened to Barb.
Right.
And they're selling their home. They're hiring
they've hired a private investigator who's one of, if not the coolest new character. He's not in it much. But
the conspiracy theorist
the conspiracy theorist detective
Yeah.
is hilarious. He's a great addition to the cast.
Yeah, he's great. But yeah, her character, she's wants to expose Hawkins. She wants to actually the truth to get out.
Yes.
Right. So that's their big plot point. And then Will's brothers, they're just there to help her along because he's still infatuated with her. So not a whole lot. I mean, didn't have as much as she did in the first one. A few some funny moments with the investigators and like that. But that's their goal. That's what their whole plan is throughout this, is trying to expose Hawkins and the truth.
Right.
Let's talk about the kids. When the kids get back, or when we meet up with each of them, pretty much the three main ones are all back together, right? They're all friends. Right. Will's back with them now, but like you said, he's kind of has to get dropped off.
Right. Yeah.
He's still kind of.
He's definitely feeling he feels like he's an outsider.
Yeah.
Mike especially tries to make an effort to make, he's included in everything. They're all happy to see him.
Right.
And stuff like that. But he definitely, that's part of his whole story arc in this, is feeling like an outsider because of all the strange things. And he gets called, was it Zombie Kid or
Zombie Kid because he came back from the dead.
Yeah, because they had the funeral for him and everything like that, even though it was just, oh, you were missing, now you were found. But we had a funeral for another kid we thought was you, so now they call him Zombie Kid.
Yeah.
So there's that bullying aspect of that. They actually did a lot in this season about bullying, which is okay, but they went there was just too much of it. Because in the first, here's the thing is, everything in season 1 that was like issues that kids deal with was primarily handled after Barb's disappearance. Before that, you have the teenage angst and fitting in and stuff like that. But after that,
go ahead.
All right. But after that point, after Barb disappears, everything is done as analogies and metaphors to what kids go through.
Yeah.
Here it was like, let's beat you over the head with these things that they deal with.
Yeah.
Not just with him being bullied for being Zombie Kid, but also the whole Max and her brother.
Yeah.
Billy, I think is his name, the character. That was just too... the interactions between her and her brother, fine. I mean, there was too many of them, in my opinion.
Yeah, the whole big brother abuse.
Yeah.
Abusing his stepsister thing.
Right. There was too many... there were too many instances of that. You got that feeling after just one or two. You didn't need to keep coming back to it over and over again.
Yeah.
But then the blatantly showing, and that he does that because he's abused by his father. While that scene plays out very well, it just didn't fit with what Stranger Things does.
Yeah.
You already had
the narrative as a whole for this season. It just kind of like.
Well, because you already had the analogy for abuse between Brenner and 11.
Yeah.
Where he does all those things, doesn't really treat her like a child, and abuses her in that sense. So you already had lots of things about abuse. So this just, for me, that fell flat. I didn't like the character of her brother. I mean, you weren't supposed to.
But we'll get into that, what we don't like here in a minute. But yeah, I mean, going back to the kids, though, I think the, like Mike was the focus of the first one.
Right.
Right? He's not the focus of this one now.
No.
He kind of takes a back seat. Will Byers is pretty much the focus on this one, which makes sense. But even Dustin and Caleb.
Dustin and Lucas.
Dustin and Lucas. Caleb plays Lucas. yeah, they were kind of like the background characters in the first one, but they were kind of front and center this one.
Yeah, they are definitely.
I mean, a lot of the plot revolves around the two of them and the new character Max.
Right.
The relationship between the three of them, as opposed to, and Mike actually kind of takes a backseat to all of them.
He does,
season.
yeah.
Which,
he has a few good scenes, but
yeah.
he's definitely now he's been moved to the background character because at no point really does he take that leadership role that he had in the first one. I mean, there are several points where he puts his foot down where he's like, no, I'm not going to.
Mostly him not liking Max, but
yeah,
which is, kind of.
That was, we'll get to that too. But so there's a few times where he puts his foot down, but very few where he takes the lead in suggesting something or pushing them to do something.
Right.
Somebody else is usually the impetus for that.
Right. You could tell Dustin is probably the one that came up the most out of all these, right? I mean, well, I was like Will, because Will was hardly in the first one.
Right, yeah.
Even though he was the focus of the series. He's the main kid in this one. But Dustin actually has a lot more to do. They have a lot more of him on his own. Him with
Steve,
yeah.
which is a good pairing.
Yeah, good
it's
pairing.
A really
him
good
and Steve,
pairing.
yeah, exactly. Teaming up and doing stuff by themselves. Lucas is basically, forming a relationship with Max, the new girl. And Dustin has he's the one that finds the polywog, the little Demogorgon.
Yeah.
And so he had a lot of scenes like that on his own, and he had, I don't know, I think he got to shine quite a bit.
Yeah, definitely.
And he was like the standout for me in the first one too. I mean, I really like Mike, but
yeah,
it's it's all the background characters. He was one of the standouts. So I mean, I like all these kids. They're all great. Like I said, Lucas got a chance to sign. Dustin did, and I think Will definitely stepped up.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about 11. All right, so 11, obviously the big standout for this first season. She's the main point of it. We meet up with her. She's being hid by Hopper. None of the kids know she's alive. No one knows. One of the biggest problems I had, well, I don't want to talk about her problems, but she doesn't really meet up with the group until like the second to last episode.
Right.
She's doing her
own
thing. She's got a little side story that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Feels kind of tacked on to me. It serves one purpose story wise, and I don't think it's strong enough purpose to actually matter. We'll get into that later. But I mean, so she's on her own for most of this. So in fact, the kids are all split up throughout this series.
Yeah.
Unlike the first one where they're all in a big group.
Rarely are all three of them
all of them together. Yeah.
All of them. Almost never are all four of them together.
Yeah.
And then the three that were the group in the first one, it's rare that they're together as well.
They're not all together as a group until the very end. Even then, when they're in the tunnels, Levin's not with them.
Right.
Right. So they're never all of them with 11 together, except for when they meet up. Right?
Yeah.
So that to me, I kind of miss that group dynamic. So you don't really get the group dynamic. You get little pockets, right? You get like two of them team up and go off and do something, and that's the entire second season. So if you were really hoping for like the big group dynamic with the kids and everybody and 11, you don't get that in the season. A lot of individual chances to shine,
right,
or individual pairings, and I kind of miss that. Like I said, 11's an amazing character and she's in there, but not with the group. So, okay, let's kind of brush on a few things. Overall, really like the series, right? Let's talk a little bit about some of the things we didn't like about the series. Now, I've been hearing some gushing reviews from people saying this the series is great. They did it again, knocked it out of the park. But I don't hear anybody addressing some of the issues I had. Now, again, it leads me to wonder, is this me just being old and crotchety and starting, or whether there actually is issues with this, other people see it. So I wanted to discuss a little bit of the problems I had with the second season.
Let's do this because I know there are things we disagree on, and that you may have had a problem with, I may not have, and vice versa. So let's go through it.
Right. The biggest difference is I'm right. So it's all right. So my biggest problem. One of the problems I had is with the introduction of all the new characters. Outside of, and very few of them actually had a real impact on the story. I don't think they were necessary. No, I know you like Max. Let's talk about the one we disagree with her.
Okay.
And Max, I liked her. I like the character. I like the actress that played her. But she's basically an 11 stand-in. She's there to have like a girl with the group, because Eleven's not with the group for the most of the time.
Well,
right?
yeah, I mean, that is partially it. My thing is, I think she is, because in the first one, there was that, like, the social awkwardness and thing, so the group, and there was a bit of the girl. 11 in the first one was like that, girls are weird. Girls are, girls are ew. But now there's one here, and wait a minute, I may not feel the same way about that.
Yeah.
So, and that's the role she filled in that dynamic for the kids. Max fills a different dynamic in that we know about girls, we're interested in girls, and now there's a girl for the other two, for Lucas and Dustin to fight over, to have a struggle. And that carries over from the first one, because those were the two that fought all the time in the first one. Yeah. They disagree a lot, and now they have they're in this love triangle with her. Love triangle, quote unquote, because
they're kids, but still
they're kids. But yeah, so I liked that dynamic, how it brought them head to head, and she also brings in the element, an outsider fitting in. Because they're outsiders in a community that's already established. She's an outsider from outside, trying to fit in with the outsiders and running into problems, specifically with Mike.
Yeah.
So that part of her character I liked. The family elements with the abusive stepbrother and the divorce and things like that. Those were whatever. I don't care. They stray too far away from the story.
Yeah. No, for me, it was all right. Like I said, she was a fine character. I understand all that, but I didn't think it was necessary. One, and two, I thought when you already have an ensemble cast like you do, right, bringing in these other characters and having to spend time on them, you're going to lose something. And we did with Mike this season. Like Mike kind of got kind of got the shaft story wise in this season, and I think he suffered because of the time spent for all these new characters they brought in that I don't think was necessary.
Yeah.
I mean, and especially, like, not only just her, but like you said, her brother. I mean, her brother is the new big bully at school, right? Now, because obviously...
Because Steve's a nice guy.
Steve's a nice guy now, right? So, but they brought him in because they have, like, a bigger, badder bad guy at the school, bully.
Yeah, apparently they wanted to go back to having a human villain, which I guess we didn't talk about this in the good things, because this was one of my favorite parts. So I'll connect this together.
Okay.
Paul Reiser is set up to be the new Brenner, the new bad guy, and he's initially like that. But about mid-season, he realizes bad things are happening, and he flips and becomes a good guy.
Yeah. I like Paul Reiser's character.
I love that.
Which is the opposite of all the characters he played beforehand.
Yes.
Yeah. He's the one that flips and becomes a bad guy.
Right. But, and I loved that about him. He was a great character. He was a great addition.
Yeah.
So at that point, the brothers, the Duffer brothers, were like, we want to have a human villain in it, and there isn't one. Otherwise, once you decide that he is not a bad guy, he's actually trying to help them. I don't think it was necessary to have a human villain. I thought Billy largely fell flat. Not that the guy did a bad job at him. I mean, he played the type of character he was supposed to be well. I just wasn't interested in his story. And like you said, it takes away a lot from the others. And I didn't like the resolution of that story.
Yeah, no.
I didn't like that at all. I think it made
he could have been left out completely.
It made Steve look like a weak character. And I just didn't feel like things were like, you're suddenly going to amend your ways because your sister knocked you out with drugs and then threatened you with a bat while you were mostly unconscious. That's going to change that changes how you're going to behave.
Yeah.
We'll see. Here's the part of the problem with a lot of these things that we're bringing up here. This season 1 was a contained story.
Yes.
It could have stopped then, and it was a fully told story.
Yep.
This one, and they say it, for years, they say during their interviews, for years to come, there are going to be more, and this one was treated like that. Like a lot of this stuff was just set up for things that are going to happen later.
Yeah. So
it felt not as
right.
There wasn't as good a resolution as there was in season 1.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So, and going back to part of the rest of the new characters, Sean Astin's character, I understand he was I didn't like the fact that they kind of set up, Joyce and
Bob.
no,
Hopper.
Hopper, yeah, Hopper and Joyce were kind of like set up at the end of season 1, right?
Right.
They're gonna kind of get back together, kind of thing. And then she shows up with a new boyfriend. I mean, Sean Astin, so that's cool. But I mean, from the get go, I was like, this guy's gonna die. Sean Astin's there to get killed.
Yeah.
And they do it in like the cliche.
His death was very cliche.
You're like, all right, so he survives.
Hey, I did it.
Yeah, he's like, yeah. He escapes, getting killed through all this. He almost makes it to the very end, and then he gets jumped. So, yeah, very cliche way of him going out.
Yeah.
And the only thing he was there for is to kind of center Joyce, which I think Hopper could have filled that role. And
they had Hopper doing an awful lot.
yeah, I guess that's true, but still. And then he ends up with Hopper anyway at the end.
Well, and here's the thing is, apparently the Bob character was supposed to have way less to do, but then Sean Astin came in for the part.
Oh,
and they're all like, oh, well, we can't have Sean Astin just kind of show up a couple of times and that. So they really expanded the part because of who they had to play it. And he was a fine character. I don't have any problems with him. I do. His death was very cliche, and maybe that was purposeful. I don't know. He was very, bread and butter kind of, white bread and butter kind of character. Yeah. Which is what he was supposed to be, but it was fine.
It was fine. It was the fact that it was Sean Astin
Oh yeah, because he's an 80s icon. He's an 80s icon.
I was like, all right, fine. He didn't really serve a purpose in the story, but I was okay with him being there.
Yeah.
More okay than him. But the biggest new character problem I had was with Callie or 8.
Yeah.
Or the other they had this in the very first episode, you get to see like this. I thought they were robbing a bank, but I guess they're just
they were killing
somebody. Yeah,
yeah. We thought it was something less innocuous, but
so apparently there's a group of terrorists from one of the other escaped patients.
Yeah,
number 8, who's got the ability to like make people see stuff.
Yes, like project illusions into people's mind.
Yep. And she's out seeking revenge for all the people at Hawkins that got away, and murdering them.
Yeah.
Right. So throughout the story, part of Eleven's storyline is she finds out about her mom.
Right.
Finds her mom. Finds out about the other kids that were they're there or whatever, and then one of them's out there. So she tracks down 8, and then she joins up with her group for a little bit until she realizes that they're crazy.
Yeah.
So, but it was a whole episode. I mean, it was a brief thing in the very first episode, and then you don't get back to it till like episode 6 or 7, somewhere around there. And that whole episode was just, first off, the episode before that left on a cliffhanger, right? And then you get a whole episode that wasn't necessary about this terror group, right? I mean, that's really what they were. They're a band of murderers going around, robbing and killing people.
Yeah.
I mean, and then 11 to join up with them for an episode, and then realize that they're evil, and then realize that she's needed back home, and that's not what she wants. I don't think it was necessary for her 11's growth, and it wasn't necessary story-wise. It was just, I don't want to say filler, because everything was, it was well acted.
It was setting up further stories, in my opinion.
Yeah, it has to be setting up further stories, because it had nothing to do with this story this season. I mean, you talk about it was one episode more this season. It was one episode more that they didn't need. That one they could have cut out completely and have nothing. She just served no purpose for the story. So that was my big problem with that.
All right, yeah, I get that. I did like the bit with her mom, finding out about her mom. Fine. And the interesting thing was, they set up that maybe her mom has psychic abilities because she could manipulate the. I don't want to say the upside down, but that black area in between, and she could manipulate the lights and stuff like that. So that was interesting, intriguing.
Like maybe it's part of her powers is like hereditary kind of thing.
Maybe, yeah.
Not just experiment.
Who knows exactly where they were going with that, but that was an intriguing bit.
Yes.
So I liked that element. I didn't mind the idea of her having a sister. I'm torn on this one. I see that they're going to, that there's going to be further stories with this, because it was largely a throwaway that I think was just character establishment for maybe we're going to see this character in season 3, and there's going to be more interaction between the two, because it did not. Otherwise, I guess it made her see that she actually missed her home and didn't want to be away from all of those people. I don't know.
Here's the thing. Here's the one purpose it served. I said it served one purpose only. There's one brief moment where they teach her to channel her anger and her rage to make herself more powerful.
Well, yeah,
right?
Okay.
Which she needs at the end to close the giant gate.
Yeah.
Right? That's it. That's the one thing that accomplished. Right? Is that one? It was a brief moment where she drags a train car around. It's too big for her to move, and she kind of has her focus her rage to do it. She uses the dark side to manipulate the train car, and then she ends up using that same tactic to close the gate.
Right.
In the end. But other than that one thing, it didn't add anything to the story. Now, if it sets her up later on, it can only set Carrie, it only sets her up as a villain later on, because she's not really a redeemable character.
I don't know that she's not redeemable, but she is definitely a bad guy right now.
She's just straight up murdering folks.
Yeah.
She didn't care. Eleven was kind of down with it too, because she's killed people, especially people from Hawkins, right, in the past. And as they're going to kill the one guard, she realizes that he has kids.
Right.
And 11's like, I don't want to. She's got kids. You're going to kill him right in front of her kids. And Carrie didn't care. She was like, no, I'm going to kill him.
So I think we'll see Kali in season 3. So if I had to make a prediction, because at the end of the season, we see that the Mind Flayer is still in the Upside Down, paying attention to them. So it's like it's sitting right over the school.
Right.
So I think it's going to be the bad guy again, and I think we're going to see Kali and 11 having to team up to beat it. That's my prediction.
Yeah.
So I think a large portion of next season will focus on
Kali's redemption.
Kali being redeemed somehow.
That is a long road to haul at this point.
Yeah.
She's.
I mean, I could be. They could totally drop her, but I don't think so. I think there's going to be something with that, and I think she's going to become crucial.
I think she was the one element of the story that didn't work. I mean, she was kind of like felt like it didn't belong. I don't know. She's one part that could have been cut out completely, and I would.
It would not have changed this story at all.
No,
it might have changed. It might affect future things. That's the one thing. If I had to say these are a little. For me, I mean, you had some major problems with this. Most of these things were minor issues to me.
They didn't destroy my overall enjoyment of the series, but things that I was like, this felt like Age of Ultron when Thor had the vision and stuff like that. They kind of shoehorned in for future stories.
Yeah, that's it. There was a lot of stuff that I felt was kind of shoehorned in to set up future stories, rather than just telling one self-contained story and being prepared to move on. No. Because realistically, if you look back at season 1 and you look at season 2, there was nothing that was in season 1 that was specifically to set up season 2. Yeah. They just grew organically out of it. Oh, everybody's upset that Barb didn't get her due. We'll make that a plot point here. Yeah. Obviously they were probably always planning on the opening still being there. Yeah. That there would be different government people there. They set up Will Byers, puking out the slug thing, so they already were planning on bringing the Demogorgon back. So all of that stuff was naturally there. It wasn't set up. Yeah. So that was the one thing that was kind of very different this season than in the first one. Yeah. And makes in my opinion, and we're getting to that stage here, so I'm going to go ahead and throw this out. Season 1 was better than season 2.
It was.
Season 2 was good. I mean, I would highly recommend it. It's still Stranger Things. It's still great. I'm still looking forward.
All the kids are great. Yeah,
I'm still looking forward to watching through all of those beyond Stranger Things to get all the backstage stuff and whatnot. That was all fun stuff. But season 1 was better.
Season 1 was better. Now, another big problem I had for me was the love triangles they threw in here. Right. Oh. All right. They threw like Steve, Nancy, and what's Will's brother's name? Jonathan. All right. So they were the love triangle in the first one, right? And the great thing about the first one is because it played against stereotype, right? So she ended up with the bad boy, the loner you know, picked on guy she didn't end up with, right? And it worked out great. Steve turned out to be great, and they were fine at the end, the whole bit. It was great. So they take this, throw them back into the same love triangle. Her and Steve have a fight, right?
Yeah, it's almost not a love triangle because her and Steve fall apart almost immediately.
Yeah. She says some breakup stuff to Steve. They meet back up again. She kind of blows it off like it wasn't anything. I guess she really doesn't love Steve, I guess.
Yeah.
Which, and then, so Steve's off on his own. And then she hooks up with Jonathan? Yeah, so, I mean, and then she ends up with him anyway in the second season. So they basically undid everything they did with the first one with that love triangle.
Yeah.
And reversed it and went back to stereotype. This is where, how it should have ended, I guess. Mm-hmm. And then we're left with Steve. Like, why is Steve in the story? If it wasn't for Dustin teaming up with him, Steve would have no reason to be in this story at this point beyond that.
Right, yeah.
And you're like, it doesn't, I mean, Jonathan always has a buy-in because his brother Will's the one that's always his focus on. So he has a reason to be there. Steve's reason to be there was he was with Nancy. So
right, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I didn't like that whole thing. I didn't like the love triangle between Dustin, Lucas, and Max.
No, see, I did.
I mean, it was okay, but at the end, you're like, spoiler, she ends up with Lucas, right? Mm-hmm. I don't feel for poor Dustin, man. You guys have to, dude. I don't know how. Suspension of disbelief with all the otherworldly stuff. Come on, man. As slick as Dustin was going into that dance, with his hair looking as on point as it looked at the end of that, for him not, and with confidence. I'll tell you, kids, confidence is what you need. Just walks up with those girls with confidence, throws it down, and they still fucking shun him. And everyone ends up with a girl at the end, except for Dustin, who ends up like dancing with Nancy. I'm like, come on, man. That much charm, that much charisma crammed into that package. That kid should have had all kinds of girls. But anyway, I had no problem with that. Dustin, come down, buddy. Your turn, season 3.
Yeah.
So anyway, so they bring up Max basically so Lucas can have a girlfriend. Mm-hmm. I missed the fact that 11 was not part of the group. The group was all split up. I'm going to throw that in a negative pile because, 11 was such a big part in I don't know, the relationship between her and all the boys, right? Mm-hmm. Especially with her and Mike.
Yeah.
And Mike kind of gets the shaft in this one, and then 11's kind of like off on their own.
Right.
And we're focused on these new characters, and I'm just like, and then 11's storyline just kind of falls flat with me with her sister. Yeah. So I don't think,
Here's the thing is...
She shows up to save the day at the end. That's pretty much it.
Yes, she did. That was one of the things that was... It was... You knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
It is already set up. It's predetermined. They all get a moment to shine, but she is the Deus Ex Machina who's going to fix everything in the end.
Yes.
And that just, that played to form. And that's... The way the series is set up, it just has to be that way. So that didn't bother me too terribly much. But again, the feeling here is this is episodic now. Yeah. This is there's going to be multiple seasons. So I think they took a step back where they're all like, we can take things and weave separate plot lines and leave things slightly unresolved. Like, for example, I wasn't a big fan of the fact that Max, Mike, and 11's relationship wasn't in any way patched up at the end. It was not even addressed that it was her idea to go distract the Demogorgons so that 11 could do her job.
Yeah. So they have no idea.
They did. And Mike was there. He knew it.
Yeah.
But they don't address what she did in that sense.
They bring up the clash between the three of them, right? Because Mike doesn't like her because she's an outsider to the group. The others are trying to bring into the group, right? 11 sees Mike and her having a talk, and she gets jealous, right? So she doesn't like Max. But none of this ever gets communicated.
I think that's going, again, that'll be a plot point in 3.
Yeah. So, and Mike is always, kind of a dick to Max. And none of that gets resolved.
All right, we should probably bring this home. We're getting kind of long here. So
I will say this: one of the best things I liked about this season. We talked about all the actors and all the kids and all the actors and everything, how great it was. But I really liked what they did with the Upside Down. Right? I love the fact that there was a fan theory out there that the Demogorgon from the first one was a manifestation of 11. That 11 created him. Basically, it was all the dark stuff they did to her. That was her dark emotions. Yeah. Because, like, the first time I'm like, wow, there's a whole other world and there's one creature in it. right?
Yeah.
But they did a really good job of fleshing out, making it feel like a whole nother dimension.
Yeah.
Right. There's an intelligence over there. There's things that grow there. There's a whole. I mean, Demogorgon is not just a singular creature. It's it is an animal that lives out there.
Right.
You know. So they did.
Yeah. So that theory is done.
That
There-
theory is
that-
done.
it
It
is
is
not.
its own dimension with its own
thing.
ecosystem and the whole
Right,
bit. You
yeah.
know, it's there's an intelligence that lives there. So yeah, I really like that part. I really like that they fleshed that out. I like the bad guy in this one.
The Shadow Monster.
The Shadow Monster, the Mind Flayer. Yeah, I mean, I liked it, like what they did there.
Yeah,
it
we've spent a little bit of time on this griping about stuff.
It's because it's so. I mean, this is a great series, right?
Yeah.
Stranger Things 2 is amazing. The first one was amazing, right? We
Yes.
love all these characters, and we're so passionate about it. So the things that we don't like about it kind of stick out to us to a point where
Yeah, we're like,
that's what we can talk
why
about.
did you do that?
It doesn't take a whole long to say, yeah, I loved it. It was great.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, yeah, everything was cool, but now the things that we didn't like about it, we're like, oh, why is this like this? Doing the thing I love.
Let's end on a high note.
Yes.
And say, what was your favorite? I don't want to say favorite part because that's too cliche. What was your favorite new thing in this?
My favorite new thing.
Yeah. So we know essentially who our favorite. You said who your favorite character was in season 1. So of the new stuff that was introduced this season, what was your favorite?
It'd be a toss up between two things. One, the fact that Hopper and Joyce kind of get together at the end, because you could all through the first season, you know, like these two should be together, kind of thing. They had a relationship in the past, you know.
Right. Yeah.
I like the fact that they do end up together, kind of. I mean,
Kind
kind
of.
of it's going that way. And I like the fact that we find out that the Demogorgons are the Demodogs. But they actually have their own personalities. They're actually creatures, right?
Yeah. They have a life cycle.
They have a
all
life
that
cycle. They have, the fact that you befriended one, you know,
Stuff. Yes. Yeah.
to the point, so they're not just like mindless monsters, right? It's just not that faceless monster in the dark.
Right.
They're actually living creatures with, their own personalities and whatnot.
Right. They are animals.
They are animals.
They are animals.
Yeah.
They, the Duffers say that specifically. They're kind of like sharks. They make that. But yeah, like a pet, he was able to make some sort of a bond. So even when he grew up and was more vicious, he was able to, convince it to let them pass.
Yeah.
So that was cool. Yeah.
So
All right.
yeah, I like that's what I like. The new thing.
That was your new. Okay. Mine was Paul Ratcher.
Oh yeah.
I love the twist with him. You think he's going to be a bad guy because he seems a little callous. Oh, he not callous. He seems condescending.
He's very condescending.
He starts off very condescending. Oh, it's all going to be fine. You just give it time.
Are you
and
giving
stuff
me orders?
yeah, it's stuff like that.
Offer someone to check out the crops. He's like,
Yeah.
I guess.
So you get that set up, and then when stuff starts happening, he's like, oh, yeah, we did something bad. All right, I need to help these guys. I need to do what's right.
I'll tell you what the big and there wasn't like the turn for him, right? Wasn't necessarily when he's like, oh, we screwed up everything. Is when they found out that hurting the upside down hurt Will, right? And all the other scientists were all like,
So?
that's one kid.
Yeah.
we need to burn this back, right?
Right.
And he wouldn't. He was like, no,
we got to find another way.
We got to find another way.
Yeah,
and you realize
that's
right
cool.
then that's just one kid.
And he cared.
Right?
Yeah.
And he was the one that was caring for the kid before, right, as a doctor. But you didn't get the idea that he was just kind of like,
Right.
he's about the test subject or whatever. But you got that in that moment, you realize, yeah, he actually cared about not hurting Will. So
Yep.
yeah,
That
he
was
was a
very
great
cool.
character.
And at the end, brings an 11 a birth certificate, so she's officially with Hopper, as his daughter. That's he was an awesome character.
Yeah,
he was
awesome.
probably the standout for me.
Right. I mean, I like the conspiracy theorist guy.
Oh, he was.
If he had a little more screen time, he probably would have been up there. But
he was. He was comedic relief, but he was awesome.
Yeah,
he has probably the best line.
No,
where he offers the key. I got a pull-out belt on my couch, and then in the
how was the
morning, he's
pull-out?
like, "How was the pull-out?"
Can't believe that line made it into this show. But yes, I loved it. But
Yeah, it was. It was really good.
all right. Yeah. So we liked it.
Yeah.
How much did we like it, Doug? Obviously, we said first one was better.
Yeah.
The first one was. I mean, if we had to rate the first one, it would be up there.
The first one, because of its uniqueness and how I think I probably gave it a 5. This one's a 4.
4.
It is a solid follow up. It's good. I would always recommend people to see it. There was a little too much set up for future things, but other than that, it was I thought everybody in it did an awesome job.
Yeah.
Even the characters I didn't particularly care about or care about the stories, they were still well done.
Yeah.
Like the scene with the abuse in the family, the father and stuff. The mother looked terrified at that moment. So everybody did a great job. So you may like that element of the story, and you'll be pleasantly, you'll be pleased with the acting and whatnot.
Yeah, this is definitely something you should check out. I would probably give them the first one. I would probably give it a 4.5, 5 up there.
Yeah.
And this one I'd give probably on a 1 to 5 scale a 3 or 4.5, 4. I'd give it a 4.
Okay.
Because it was good. It was very entertaining. It was what, if you like Stranger Things first one said, without the first one being so good, this one wouldn't have,
Yeah, it wouldn't have been as hard on it.
Yeah. But
I did stay up till 4 a.m. to watch it.
That's
so
true. It is engaging.
You will get hooked, and you will have a hard time not binging it. Yeah.
Yes, and you should binge it.
Should.
That's why you watch TV.
Yeah.
So, So there you go. A solid movie or solid series. Another win for Netflix.
And you can definitely count on there being a 3rd season.
Yeah, definitely.
They've not announced a 3rd season, but everything the Duffers say in Beyond Stranger Things, and I do recommend watching that. It's very interesting. It's got lots of cool interviews and stuff. Everything they say points to a season 3. They talk about for years to come and stuff like that. So yeah, they're continuing the series.
Yeah.
So
all right,
that's cool.
I'm excited. I will watch this until it sucks. This definitely did not suck. So, but that's it for us, folks. I'm gonna go get some sleep, then maybe watch After Stranger Things or Beyond Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Talking Strange.
Talking Strange. Yeah. There you go.
Thanks for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe. Tell your friends about us. If you want to support the channel, we have a link to our Patreon down below. And we'll be back next time with some more reviews.
Yep. Probably Punisher next.